Hello and good evening. We are back for Pause. It's myself, Robyn Hill, and my co-host, Honey Bell Bay.
Hello.
Hey sis, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing good. We got positive energy, so we are good.
Yes,
today.
yes, absolutely.
We are good. Our guest got us together, got our energies together. So we are back. We in a silly mood, we in a prayerful mood, we in a very spiritual mood. We got all kinds of moods going on.
Yes.
So we are going to start off our topic today before we get into our guest. Just get into like a really heated topic. Let's just take it to a fun topic. Let's just current event topic. So let's talk about those young men, the young boys, who was talking about. Yeah, the boys. Yeah. About
what they were talking about, sis. Let us know. What they were talking about?
It was a video, a TikTok, I think, that went out, a clip of a podcast of some young boys talking about women with goals, black women who have degrees and accomplishments and careers, and saying that no man will want that and made themselves undesirable because they've accomplished so much. And for some reason, as if that was
a turnoff.
Wow.
Wow.
What y'all think about that? Oh, by the way, this is our guest, Kelly Clemmons.
Hello.
We'll get more into who she is shortly, but we're going to start off with the interesting topic of today.
Interesting, it is, sort of. I usually kind of skim past podcasts a little bit. And I don't know what made me listen to it. But when I watched the clip and the young boy came on and was speaking his opinion, because that's what it was. It wasn't fact. It was opinion about a woman. She told him, I have everything. I have a good job. I'm happy with myself. I own my own home. All I need is a man. And soon as he said that, he's paraphrasing her. Not only did he giggle, but the podcast they giggled too. Like I could not believe. I said, "Wait a minute." She's talking to you. She's a successful black woman talking better herself in life first before going to find a mate. Mm-hmm. But I think it's so very contrary, because you hear a lot of men say, I can't ask her to marry me yet because I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. I can't propose yet because I don't have enough money to get the ring that she deserves. I don't have the job that I want to have yet. So it's okay for a man to go out and fulfill all his needs, education-wise, social, emotion-wise, and
even then sexually, sow those oats.
Sow those wild oats, okay? And then say, I'm ready to settle down. Mm-hmm. That is a very mature outlook and perspective. So for those young men, boys, to laugh at this woman's achievements and then in turn degrade her for said achievements, my mind was boggled.
Right.
And I kid you not, I saw it before, and I think you posted it on Instagram.
I posted on Facebook with a guy response. It was like a professor's response.
Okay. Okay. And so when I watched it, I had to keep watching it because I said, let me see if is this right? Am I really hearing this? And it just, to me, in my opinion, is coming from a place of hurt and trauma and insecurity on their behalf. I don't know what those men been through, but I'm pretty sure that their mamas was calling them after that podcast.
Right. I hope so. I hope so.
Well, I did not watch it, thank God, but I've seen pieces and clips of this type of behavior and attitude. And without taking it too, as we said, it was going to be fun. So without taking it too cultural, when you were talking, Kelly, I cannot help but to think about whether it's factual or fictional. The Willie Lynch letter. I can't help but to think about this intent to separate the black man from the black woman and creating this level of division. If you start off with that type of a emotion towards her, even marrying her, there is already this hierarchical different pieces. She can have everything together and still you king of the household. And you have nothing together. You can come with no degree, figuring it out. I'm going to throw somebody in here. Please, everybody listening, or even you, my co-hosts and guests, don't even throw any tomatoes at me virtually. But I think of a pastor who I've listened to my whole life, throughout my whole ministry, and admired, who, matter of fact, I'm not even going to say his name, but he just got engaged, right? And so he was dating this woman for like 52,000 years.
How? I'm like, what?
Like
and she waited.
And she waited.
And she waited.
And she waited while he dated. She waited while he went to strip clubs and did everything under the sun. And he's a celebrity. He's a celebrity preacher. So she waited while he did all of this, and met him when she was in her 40s. I think they were in their 40s or 30s. Went through all of her youth. You took all this woman's youth and then proposed to her, and proposed to her in such a gross way. Every woman wants that dream. You're going to bow on one knee, put that ring on and say, "You my queen. I can't live without you." The first thing I think about after God when I wake up in the morning. Instead, he proposed to her like, "Well, I need somebody to change my diapers in my old age."
Oh my gosh. I didn't see the proposal.
I make no story.
Oh my gosh.
Remember how Martin proposed it? Will you marry me, Gina? Damn.
Here's what's worse. He had the ring in a Cracker Jack box.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he pulled the ring out of it. I make no lie. He pulled the ring out of a Cracker Jack box, and not once did he mention, "I got to marry because I love her. She stood by me for 28 years. I love her so much. She's the one I think about. She's the reason the sun." He said none of that. "Well, I'm getting married, y'all. I need somebody to take care of me in my old age. I need somebody to wheel me around, and she been here, so might as well."
Oh.
And she said yes, and my
She
heart
should
broke for
have
the sister.
ran for the mountains.
Yes, she should have. All he had to do was at least, brother, you done did all that. At least do it right by the proposal. You took the childbearing years. You took all of that.
That was
and
intentional.
She waited.
Yes.
And she
with
waited.
his name and title and who he is.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
Yeah.
And she sat there and took that. You got to understand, people what DMX say, 'cause DMX my dude. That's my oof. He said you got to trust people.
DMX is Robyn's dude.
You got to trust people when they show you who they are. You got to trust them to be who they are.
When they show you who they are, believe them.
Believe them and trust them to be that. You know,
Nothing more, nothing less.
And she knew who he was in the beginning.
Yeah.
She knew his, but the thing is, I didn't know because he preached so good. Oh, he preached so good. But isn't that the problem? We get turned on by the glitz. Let's say he wasn't a preacher. Let's say he just a street dude. Let's say he just the way he dressed, the way as women, we take the flash, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're giving us what we need. Was this sister's needs met? I would dare to say no.
I would.
Not her whole life.
She
Not her
went
whole
home.
life.
You know, she went home and cried.
Yeah, she went home and cried. No, I don't know.
I don't know if she said yes.
I don't think she went home and cried. She probably was like, "Got him, finally got him."
Yeah.
Girl,
Yeah.
got him. It's over. I mean, come on. You're at the end of the journey. You've outlived every possible thing, and then you come back to that woman. I was just like, man, it's a little gross. It's just a little gross to have done her like that. At least you should have got the proposal right. Go look at the proposal, and you will say, "What in the world?" That's how I was looking like.
That
Is this
would
for
break
real?
my heart.
It broke my heart watching her. It broke my heart watching her, but she watched her own story for all these years. I think it deals with our own self-worth.
Yes.
It deals with our value. I'm not personally, I can speak on it as a single woman. I told you earlier, I ain't chasing no man. I ain't calling you back and forth if you're not calling me. Women need to remind themselves that they are the prize. Come on. I am the prize. I'm not chasing you. I don't care who you are. Right. I am Honey Bell Banks.
Somebody told them different. This new breed, this new age man think they the prize.
Oh my God.
I was told by men that the men were the prize.
I've heard it too.
And I told him, if you can shoot a baby out of your penis, then I will hand over the prize. Yes, I will.
You get the ribbon. You get the ribbon.
Come on. And he's like, oh, please don't even mention that kind of, he can't even take that kind of talk. But the thing is, because we're nurturers and we love and we give innately, if you treat me like the prize, I'm going to treat you like the king.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's an even thing. I don't mind. Like, I've said this, and some people be like, girl, what you mean you fix your man's plate? Gladly.
Right.
I don't date, but if I did,
It doesn't come out of servitude, though.
it's
No,
not
it don't.
servitude. It's out of my heart. And people, you fix his food every day.
Every
gladly.
day.
I sit it right in front of him and
Yes.
take his shoes off gladly.
If he
Because
need to.
probably, if I needed to, because he probably take mine off if I was tired. I have no problem, but it comes with this sense of balance that you honor who I am and I honor who you are, not out of this sense of duty.
Yeah.
Bow to me, I'm the king. You my king, baby. Yeah, but it's this even balance.
There are men that I've
Yeah.
dated that don't even know that I can cook. And they
Come on.
think that I can't cook. Because all they came from out the gate was, what you gonna fix me to eat?
And that was a complete turn off
Come on.
instantly. And I don't want to fix
Nope.
you anything now.
No, I don't,
And
right.
you can cook your butt off.
I've been cooking since I could stand up at the stove.
Yeah.
But they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
I
They'll never know.
I have no problem with when I was dating my husband, like when we were dating, he was kind of surprised at it. I make elaborate dishes, okay?
You do.
And I serve it to him, and I bring him here's your napkin and something to drink and your utensils.
But he earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the respect that he gave me and how he treated me off, I didn't have to say, I like the doors to be open for me. He did that.
Yes.
I like to have date night. He planned that.
Yeah.
So if all those things are going in line and this is automatic for him, this is automatic for me.
Right.
I don't look at it like, some servitude or you being submissive and all because they love to love. Toxic and submissive, I want them to throw them words out. Okay? I don't want to hear them
Toxic.
anymore.
Come on now. Come on.
Right.
But I did that because it was out of mutual respect of our relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
So those little boys, those men boys that were on that podcast, they would never be able to appreciate that because at that time I did make more money than my husband at that time. And I still would come on. It wasn't an expectation, okay, well, you gonna serve me. No. So I don't know what a lot of people did, but before we got married, we did our own kind of contract of expectations in this relationship. I am a princess, I am a queen, I'm all those things, but I like a clean house, but my mother has instilled in me, if there's a man around, you don't touch garbage, right? But we don't really have roles in the house, but I just don't touch
That's
trash.
just one of your things,
You know,
yeah.
I just don't do garbage. I'll now if it's trash time and he's at work, I'll pull it to the front if he's not there. But that's just not something I do. But I will do it.
But you know what you said? Not to cut you off. I think that's where we go wrong. Thinking that it's wrong to have expectations. You better have some expectations.
Yeah.
And stop thinking that you're going to build him along the way.
Right.
He's put his best foot forward. I always tell people how it starts is pretty much how it's going to end.
For sure.
If he got an issue and he talking loud, not the side of his neck to you at the beginning, oh no,
yeah.
you know, his father wasn't there in his life. Stop making excuses.
Yeah.
He's showing you who he is.
Because it's only gonna get worse.
It's only gonna get worse. It's not like he's expecting you. He's not returning your calls now. He is showing you exactly who he is right now. Because when you start at any job, think about your first day at the new job. You dress a certain way, you're ready, or you're in that honeymoon period in a relationship when your representative is present. You know,
Yes.
before you show the real you.
Yes.
That representative, if the representative is already whack, he gonna continue to be whack. So
For
if you
sure.
already showing me some whackness, you're not gonna get a second month because I am, even in this position right now in my life, I'm reminding myself I am the prize.
Absolutely.
I ain't gotta bow to you. I don't have to nothing. I'll be alone. I'm sorry. And it's not a matter of I don't need a man. I ain't there. I do need a man, absolutely. But I don't need a man. I need the man.
Half a man is better than no man. That's what the old ladies
absolutely
used
not.
to say.
Nope.
And
I
that's
want
what
the man God
right.
made for me. Not a man, not any man. Bump that.
Now, with these young men, it's an indoctrination that's going on. I remember talking a few months back to a pastor friend of mine, and he said to him, it appears that there's an attack on manhood coming from within the male community. And that's what the men have to figure out. It ain't for us to figure this thing out, but it is affecting us. But this is an attack on the male community coming from within their own community.
So they're attacking themselves and
They're
taking it out
attacking
on us?
themselves. This whole mentality, this whole indoctrination, because these young boys is regurgitating some mess they done heard somewhere else.
For sure.
This isn't their own original thought. You know, we seeing this what we call in this male podcast energy that we're seeing. They're regurgitating this. Who would have told you to say out of your mouth, a woman with goals and achievements is a turnoff?
He was basically like she's worthless now. And I was just like,
Were those exact words?
Basically,
much.
I mean, he didn't say those as words, but that's what he's saying. And then, why would you even say something like that? What does that say about you and your goals and achievements?
See,
Like that, you don't even realize what you made yourself look like and what you made yourself sound like.
a clown.
Yeah.
see how passionate we are about this topic. I lead a group of African American young men called the Distinguished Gentlemen of Spoken Word. So for 20 years, I've had this group, and there are some fundamental things that we talk about. Number one, I always tell them, under no circumstance, even when Miss Honey is disappointed with you, I would never call you lazy. It's like never. I would never call you boy. Never, you my boy, you my baby boy. But in a sense of boy, you better. I would never call you nigga. I would never call you shiftless. But in the same thing, there's some things you will never call a woman. And like what, Miss Honey? You ain't never gonna call her the B word. You ain't never. And we go down that list and have that conversation. So when I'm out, even with young boys, because the training start early, yes, they open the door for Miss Honey. But Miss Honey teaches them the things that they need to know too. Why? Because you're never going to depend on a woman to have to iron your shirt. We have classes, you're going to iron your own shirt. But you're going to honor her in such a way that you take care of each other. And in 20 years, I've never produced teen fathers. Most of these men come back and bring their babies to me with their wives. And they honor them. When I look at it, it's because that's the root that I put in them. I honor them. Young king, I honor you. And they honor me too as the queen mother of our particular village. So I say that to say this training starts very young.
Yes.
Very, very young. It doesn't we don't just wake up one day disrespecting women and ignorant like what I hear you guys talking about.
It's sad.
Who would say that?
It's sad.
That is so ridiculous. So what do you want? You want a dumb woman?
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't get that.
You want a woman with no ambition?
But see, on the flip side, with the argument I kept seeing in all the comments on the podcast clips was, you need to pick a struggle, because on one foot we're constantly hearing how women are gold diggers. All they want is a man to have something to take care of them, get their money and all this. And now you have somebody who can take care of herself and possibly you too, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So they're looking for this Goldilocks ideology of a woman, and she don't exist.
Right.
She will, once you and her have a mutual understanding, then she will emerge. But she's not going to be just the Goldilocks person soon as you met her. You know, she's going to have issues that maybe she's trying to finish school and make some money, or she is like this woman. I am successful and I have this, and now I want to settle down and have a man. So just to say, I have this, you want to, I just don't know, what do you want in this middle? Where does she exist?
Could you imagine?
Whatever you like. That's what they want.
Right, exactly.
That's what they want.
You like.
Whatever you like.
However, when you get her, she will not be enough for you, as you saw in Eddie Murphy's cut in there.
She was not enough.
He didn't want that. I wanted somebody who stimulates my mind and my loins.
Could you imagine President Barack Obama?
Them coming to America clip something.
Exactly. Could you imagine President Barack Obama saying, "Nah, Michelle, I can't have a woman who think for herself. Nah, Michelle, I don't need your law degree. Nah, Michelle, I need you just to be able." He would not have been the fine leader, and we can't debate that because he got out of office after those 2 terms without a scandal.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a good president, Republican or Democrat. You can't debate that.
Yeah.
He would not have been able to survive that without a strong woman. I use his example because she is a strong. He wouldn't have wanted a dumb woman in the White House with him.
So let's talk about the socio-political backdrop, right? So we know, as we talked a little bit before the show started, the whole thing that started back in the day where the black family was broken down. And it seems like the indoctrination wants to blame the black women for this, but it's really not our fault. We know that there was a breakdown that happened. They put more into educating the black woman than they did to educating the black man. We recognize this. We recognize that we can earn more than they can earn more. We understand that this is just where we are, but that does not mean to punish the black woman for that inequity. And if you're still trying to get ahead in this society, we're going to have to get rid of that old mentality and learn how to put our bread together and come together as a couple. I understand as a black woman, I can earn more in this country than a black man. I get that. I shouldn't feel like that disqualifies me as a black woman. You understand what I'm saying?
To having a good black man.
Black man. A black man should understand that as well. That is how this country unfortunately threw off the balance. But that shouldn't keep us apart about it.
But Robyn, and I know this is probably a bit of a contentious piece. So many of the black men who get ahead, who do earn more than you, don't want us.
I know Kanye said it.
They want the white woman. They don't want us. I'm just saying.
No, I get that.
And
I'm not saying
it
that
is difficult. It is
I
difficult.
wasn't saying go for the man with the high earning man. I was saying that we got to understand that there's going to be a wage gap between us, and that we shouldn't be fighting with each other about that.
Yep.
Chances are we gonna make more money. That's just how it's gonna be, because they put money into us going to school. They gave us scholarships. They put
Right.
they designed the classrooms for us. They didn't design the classrooms for them. So we know that the setup is that way. We have to get past this whole thing about black women earning more. That's just how the society created it. We're not going to. Okay, so then if we don't, what's the resolve? We all get on welfare. Then
If we get on welfare, the black man can't be in the house.
Right.
You're
No,
supposed to
and
have-
that after the Jim Crow piece, then
Yeah.
it was the no man in the law house of the 60s and 70s.
Absolutely.
Um,
So our families were designed by these laws and structures to be divided.
Yeah.
I won't take it too historically back to the plantation, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
The black man was just used as a sperm mule, basically,
To breed.
and to breed. And we have this innate historical trauma that is against one another. Instead of loving and building one another up, we tear one another down. And you see that in some families passed down generation after generation after generation.
Right.
That's why when I see weddings and I hear little kids who say, I've never been to a wedding. You've never been to a wedding.
Right.
How do you learn what love is? How do you learn how families communicate and interact? We don't even have conversations like this anymore. So kids who think it is normal, I thought it was normal for the man not to be in the house. I thought anybody who had a father, I've said this before, it was something freaky, it was something wrong. What you mean your father at home?
Right.
Well, on my street, nobody daddy was home. So it wasn't normal for me. I've never met my father. It wasn't unnormal for me. It was normal. Nobody had.
Right.
Till I got to college and saw that people do get along, people do have fathers. That's kind of mind blowing to me.
So to put this in a language that Honey won't understand, if I got the big joker and you got the little joker, we gonna set the
I
table.
don't play cards either.
Okay, thank you. I don't know what the heck
do.
she just said. What?
I sat around family members who did, so
If you
I know
playing
some of the
cards,
lingo.
if
I
we
never played
playing
cards. I
cards,
don't
if
know
you
what
my
you're talking
partner, whoever got the big joker and whoever got the little joker, we about to set the table.
The big joker and the little joker are both in the same deck of cards.
Yes.
Okay.
And they
Oh.
and they the two
I really
biggest
don't know.
right.
Really
She don't
don't
she
know.
don't
I
know
really,
at
really
all.
don't
She
know.
don't know how she don't know. And she went to a black college
I
too.
know. I
She
don't
went
know.
to Shaw.
And
Yeah,
I went to
I
Shaw,
know.
and I went to a HBCU.
You went to H.
I have never
That's
played
what
a
they
game
did
of
in
cards in
past
my
times,
life.
I
didn't
know,
they?
right.
I was
right.
reading. I wasn't playing no cards.
I
Shut up, Robyn. So,
I did it on purpose. But anyway, my point is, you play to win. And we can't get caught up on who, and you ain't supposed to have the big joker. I'm supposed to have it. We play to win.
But how is it that, and I don't want to, how is it that men know about the systemic implications of them going to jail, and how is it set up for jail, and how these things are set up, and they're going to go to jail as a result of it, but they can't wrap their mind around how the system was set up, was divided. Like that
Right.
was mind-boggling. If you know that the system ain't broke, it was made that way, then what's going on with us was made that way too.
Part of their indoctrination, because I've listened to enough of them talk long enough, not just till I got fed up, is that we have bought into them.
what does that mean?
So, not getting too political, yeah, we already there. We already there.
Yeah.
So, as far as the system, we as black women have bought into the system. So they are mad at us
Yes.
for being a part of the system. That's the belief. That's the belief.
Right.
Not that they were gone. We had to do what we had to do to get up out.
Yeah.
That's the part that they can't. I think like there's a Nikki Giovanni thing where she does with James Baldwin. Is it James Baldwin where they talk back and forth like the black man and black woman?
Yeah. And she was like, lie to me.
Lie to me. That one,
Yep.
I wish they would do that again with the whole "you left me" or something, so that we can understand how this
Yeah.
really plays out. You was gone. You were in jail. You were there. I had to do what I had to do to feed the kids. I had to take the stamps. I had to take the college loan money or scholarships and get the education. I had to feed the kids. Black women had to do what they had to do.
Yes.
Otherwise, we were stuck in the projects.
Absolutely.
I don't think they get it. So while they were gone, we had to pull these kids up out of here, out the gutter. They come back and they're angry because they can't get back in the home. Because now when they come out, they too come out of jail with a food stamp card. You can't have but one food stamp card in one house. So they come out, they can't come back in with their family.
No, because it get absorbed. It get
Yeah.
absorbed all into one.
So, these are the things that, the anger is there, but the anger is directed at the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the pain and trauma that he causes sometimes without even knowing that he's causing it through so many things. If we even took economics out of it, through him cheating over and over and over and over again. Infidelity. And that woman having to deal with it. And when you think about it, that has nothing to do with money, because that happens to stars. That happens to people with 6-figure salaries and millionaires, and they still deal with it. I'm thinking about this one Nina Simone song, and I love Nina Simone. And she's saying in the song, "If I can't have you," such a sad song, "let me have the pieces of you that I can. I know you're with her. I know you cheat. You lied to me, but I still need you. I don't care. I need you." Willing to take whatever crumbs he presents. So he's willing to come in and do whatever, and you love him so much. It's broken you down to your very core. For me, I don't get it. I'm going to tell the truth. I don't get it like I don't get cards. I don't get how you don't understand that this little journey, not being too spiritual, is so short that you have anyway. Why in the different women, 2 different women? How is that happiness? That got to get tiring at some age.
Because
when
the
I see
ego.
old players, ego.
That's
old
all
players,
ego.
you 50, 60, aren't you done? How in the world do you like still playing this crazy game at your age and hurting somebody? That cannot be happiness.
But see, that's an old song from an old time where that was. I'm telling you, the church mothers pulled me aside when I was young. When I was a young married woman back in a former life. They weren't telling me this as advice. They was telling me this as a thank God you're not living in this time. But in their time, it was half a man was better than no man.
Oh, please.
And so they said, so outside your head, you have a man that gamble away all the money. You have a man that would do everything. But they needed them for financial stability. They needed them.
Yes.
Well,
but the times have changed. What the mothers was telling me, I was like, why are they telling me this? Because I was a young married woman at the time. But these mothers telling me this, what y'all know that I don't know.
Hey, that was forewarning.
Right.
Well, we have gotten deep into the subject.
Right,
I want to learn a little bit more about our guests as we've gone.
I like this. Y'all know about me already. We did. This is what I needed.
Speaking of women and do it and all.
Yeah, women.
Nice
women
segue.
who do it all.
Women who do it all.
And you are one. I've had the privilege of knowing you since high school. And your family.
No, actually since elementary school though. You just don't remember me because I was a grade above you, and I kind of lived bi-coastal. So I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and I grew up here. So when I would get tired of being there, I would come here. So probably after Christmas break, I'd come to school here and finish out. And until like the 7th grade, my mother was like, no, that's about to stop. So I didn't get to go to Kirk for those 2 years, but then I came back to go because I was like, Mom, I got to go to show. Everybody in our family, we graduated from show. I got to go. So I came back and attended Shaw. So that's probably, but yeah, I remember you when we were little.
Okay.
Yeah. Honey is my kindred sister here.
Absolutely, sister.
And this journey of womanhood is a bumpy road because we may be talking about these men in this podcast in 2022, but I experienced things in 1992 that was still similar, that was still trying to break down my core as a woman. But I wasn't programmed like that. That's why I'm still standing in here, can tell my story. Because I had men that tried to break me and, and make me feel I was worthless and all these things. And it just didn't happen. We was talking about being mad at the system. Can you imagine being with someone and you actually have Section 8 and they dog you all the time because you own Section 8, but they live with you
Right.
and reaping all the benefits of said Section 8?
Right. Right.
How'd that work?
It didn't work.
Right. How does that
It
work?
didn't. And it was just like, I am able to accept a lot of things, but stupidity don't really work. It's like it'll keep going in my head in a circle, and I'm like, this is not working. I can't grasp on. I can't catch into this. So I just let it go. And unfortunately, you know, the relationship dissolved. But those are the type of things we have to go through as women, because they have their own demons that they're fighting, and then they bring it home, you know. And I thank God for my grandmother and my faith to let me know that I know I have purpose. And me being somebody's doormat or somebody's person that they can belittle to make themselves feel bigger, that wasn't my purpose. That wasn't what I was put on this earth for. And I'm sorry. And you know, of course, as women, we want those marriages to work. We want those relationships to work for the kids. And then after like 5 years, I was like, I gotta find a way to get out of this, you know, because I'm trying to protect this kid, but I didn't realize that I was leaving myself unprotected. And I'm taking all the wounds and hits and battles, and all I had to do was just pack my stuff and go. But again, sometimes they make the more money. I'm in college. How am I gonna do this? How you gonna do these things? So you sit there and you stay. And I did one of the Tina Turner move. I don't want no child support. I don't want no anything.
I just want my name.
I just want my name. I want you to stay away from me. That's it. If you want to have a relationship with your kid, you can. I'm not about to force that. I mean, it is what it is. But it was eating me from the inside out, and nobody could see it. So it was like, once I reclaimed Kelly, I was like, do what you was put on earth to do.
Yes, Kelly.
Go and do what you're supposed to do. So I made that post about some guy who said, "You're most women are driven based upon trauma." That may be true.
But we got there.
However, that seed was already there, right? Me getting out of that relationship helped me to be able to absorb the moisture in the air to help me grow. So it's just it's self-preservation. So when I did start going to school and you declare social work as a major, those are the things you learn about. Before you go into anything or helping anybody else, you have to know thyself. And I had to take a hard look at myself and what I was doing, and me trying to protect the kids and leaving myself unprotected. And what good would I be to them if I'm all messed up and jacked up? So a lot of times kids internalize, I'm sure, when relationships break up, and oftentimes the kids be like, well, I'm stuck with you. You must have been a problem. Why my daddy not here anymore?
Right.
Yeah.
So I left.
Angry with you.
Yeah. So I left. I always had a forum in my house where my kids could come and have a conversation with me about anything. We could talk about anything. It's just about how you say it.
Right.
Because once all that happened, the conversation is over. But if you come and you can tell me how you feel and express yourself and give your opinion on it, I'm all welcome to it. So I tried to keep that. So if she was feeling some type of way about her dad being gone, we could talk about it. But I had to let her know I had to do what was best for me in order to be the best for you. At that time, she was like 10 or whatever. She really couldn't understand it. But now at 21, I think that she has some type of realization that wasn't a good fit. She was the best thing that came out of that relationship, you know. And I don't have any anger. I learned to just let it go, and I began to float. And within me being able to float, I can say, I choose to do this. I want to go and do this. I want to do this because I know it can be done. My grandfather left my grandmother in the 50s, maybe early 60s. Yeah, it was the early 60s. And before she died, I would ask her, like, how did you do that? How did you raise 6 daughters in this era by yourself? My grandmother owned her own house. And how was she able to do it? And she just looked at me. She said, little baby, because that's what she called me. She said, little baby, I just did it because that's what you do. You don't think about it, you do it. And that has been my motto. Besides the man that I met in 3rd grade that told me about long time goals, short time goals, mid range goals. Those two things are something that always fuel me. Make some goals and just do it. Don't think about it. Just keep going. Something fall, you adapt. Keep it moving. Don't think about it, because once you stop, it's just like juggling. If you're like, oh my God, I got 12 balls juggling, boom, they're going to start crashing.
Right.
You just keep juggling.
Yep.
You stay in the rhythm of the balls moving.
Yeah.
You said something going back to you when you said about the post about most women's accomplishments comes out of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
There is a new phenomenon, not new phenomenon, but there's a thing called post-traumatic growth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a new thing, a theory and a thing that they're talking about, and this is real, So that's the positive things that come out of trauma.
The resiliency.
It's the resiliency, and so there are some things that do come out of trauma.
Yeah.
So that we don't always have to look at, oh my gosh, I have trauma, I'm damaged for life.
Right.
There are some things that will come out of trauma. So yes. So what that you did accomplish some things from your trauma.
Right.
Okay. So what?
I mean, iron sharpen iron, right?
Right.
So if I'm at a point where everything is really, really deep, that's now part of my reservoir, right? I mean, what is it called? Your arsenal.
Yeah.
So if I got to bring it out sometime to get to my next level, then I'll bring it out. That helped me to get to the next steps, because how they say, they threw bricks at me, and I used those bricks.
So when you first said it, because I was going to come back to it, Robyn, so we were right on the same wavelength, I immediately thought about the person who I talk most about, and that's Harriet Tubman. Mm-hmm. What did she birth out of her place of trauma? After being hit with a brick that wasn't meant for her, that cracked her skull, laid on that floor, bleeding, unattended to, and when she finally woke up, they sent her back into the fields.
Yep.
If she hadn't had that place of trauma, she would have never grew to become the Moses that we knew of. It was those hallucinations that what grew out of her trauma.
Yep.
Hearing the voice of God telling her that she could be free and free others. Had it not been for her trauma, finally, after you clean up the wound of trauma, for me, I'm speaking for me. I am finally at a place I'm not ashamed of my trauma. My trauma does propel me. It propels me to have empathy for others.
For sure.
It propels me to help others cross over that underground railroad, like Minty Ross, Harriet Tubman did.
Yeah.
My trauma does give me, I'm glad you gave me the term, heard it.
Growth.
It does give me the growth, and I'm not ashamed of it. It is a part of me. I'm not even weakened by it, but I am disturbed by somebody who try to use it as a weapon against me. It ain't my weapon, it's part of who I am.
Right.
You can't use what I've been through to hurt or break me, and anybody who tries to, you are not a part of me.
Right.
You're not a part of my circle, you are not a part of my tribe, you are not a part of my family, and you are not my friend. Honey, I knew you when. I knew you when.
Right.
What? I mean, what? What
Right.
was that?
Yeah.
You knew me when. I don't care. And what tried to break me when is don't start.
Come on.
It's just like the wind of that eagle that I'm flying and soaring above it because it didn't kill me. I'm gonna stop right there, Robyn.
Go.
It didn't kill me.
Go.
It did not kill me at all. I use it to propel and soar higher. That eagle, it doesn't stop because the storm comes. It uses that same flight. It uses that same wind to get up and fly higher. It flies right into the storm.
Yes.
So I don't care when people try to bring up, it's like I got somebody like this in my life right now, bring up, I knew you in childhood. So
Yes.
I knew you too. And what does that mean?
How long
Tell
ago
the
was
story.
that?
How long ago was
Clearly
it?
they still there.
And you don't have to tell my story. I'll tell it better than you.
Right.
I'll tell it better. I'll tell it. I was in a homeless shelter. I was all of that. Honey had one set of clothes going to Shaw High
quite
School.
a testimony.
All I had. But I still was the baddest. Wasn't I?
Yes.
I still was the head of everything. I still
Yes.
was doing everything
Yes.
with the one set of clothes. So I
And
don't care.
nobody. No.
She had one set. She smelled like urine. She did it that's probably true. I was broken and all of them things. I was the trauma that he talked about. But if you look at me now, that trauma made me who I am.
Propelled
and I
you.
have value. It propelled me into greatness. So when I hear something like that, or somebody try to use somebody's story against them, it's just disgusting to me. It's just gross. And the sad part about it, Kelly, Robyn, the men do it, but then this is the reason why as sisters I can't take when we do it to each other.
Yeah.
How can we do it to each? So you got everybody just
Yeah.
everybody
Dumping
against
on
just
you?
dumping, right?
It's because they're still there. Because they're still there.
Come on. Come
They're
on.
still there.
Come on.
Right? And they didn't even experience the trauma that you did. And how are you, the person who went through all that, get to be here and I'm still right here?
Come on.
Right.
See,
Come
and
on.
that turns into a you problem, baby. That's not a me problem.
Right.
Right, not at all.
That's not a me problem because I'm going to use those bricks.
Come on.
Right.
The ones that still got the blood stain on them and
Come on.
step up.
Come on, you better preach. You better preach. I saw you step right on top of the brief.
Because this right here is just, it's kind of therapeutic for me right now for some things that I'm going through. But when people continually look at you for what they deemed was an invaluable time in your life, it's because they see no value in their life.
Right. They have to go back to it.
But what I do, for me, I go and I still, because I experienced it, so I know how it feel to be down. So even if you looking at me and thinking I'm down, I'm still in this crazy mind want to find a way to propel you to come up, because I don't want you to feel like that. You shouldn't be right there. You should be right here with me.
Right.
Your trauma may be the envy that you're having. That may be your trauma right there. But at first I was kind of taken aback when he told me that. And I was like, trauma, you don't even know me. And then tell me I was already going to do this. When I graduated high school, I had 2 kids. I graduated on time. I had a kid in the 11th and the 10th. Wait, the 10th and the 12th. Whatever it was. When they called my name to get my diploma, my kids was in the audience. I could hear one of them cry at the time when they was calling. We was at the front row. So you know it was still small and intimate. Nothing was going to stop me. Because I already knew when I was young that I had purpose. So even though I was getting beat down, and I ain't going to just say those things, I was doing some things to myself that was in my best interest too, right? Because when you young, you dumb. But that wasn't my permanent residency. When I was 22 years old. I couldn't imagine if somebody, and I'm 47 now, that they keep looking at me as this 22-year-old person that made mistakes and didn't know any better and didn't know all of my worth and my value at the time. Now I had a little residual, I was secure in myself. I had some of it, but I didn't know my total worth. And then get in relationships where you're getting beat down all the time, so you're feeling more and more worthless. But that little piece, like they say, the rose that grow through concrete, that's resiliency that's in you that's going to make you defy all odds.
So speaking of defying all odds, I know you had the 2 kids then, but can you speak about your new bundle? Your new bundle of joy. I was like, what?
So I am really good with spacing kids. In high school, I realized we don't do that. So I waited 10 years later, and I had another kid. And I had 3 kids for 18 years. And when my now 21-year-old, when she was 18 in high school, I got pregnant. So I have a 3-year-old, and this is my Facebook, so they all know about Prince Ra. It is a different type of experience being an older mom. Trying to juggle a career, trying to have an established business, having a successful marriage, and still being Kelly. Because I'm still kind of social and like to go out and, mingle and network. So being able to, again, those juggling, balancing things. And a lot of times when I get wrapped up and get overwhelmed, it's because I'm thinking about everything that I have to do instead of doing it. And I should know better, but it does get a little overwhelmed because when he turned 1, I didn't diagnose him, but I noticed that he was on the spectrum. He had spectrum issues. Okay. So when they are that age, they don't diagnose, so I had to wait. So what I did, I kind of worked with him, and I watched. As soon as he turned 2, I took him to the pediatrician. And I didn't want to step on her toes and be like, oh, I need you to do this because, right. So I know, this is what I do. And he has a diagnosis of ASD, was autism spectrum disorder, and more of the I know they have them in different classifications. Well, they don't anymore under one umbrella of
It's
the
all-
DSM-5.
yeah.
But if we were still in the DSM-4, he would probably be classified as Asperger's syndrome.
Okay.
So
He's
it's
higher
a lot.
functioning.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he is very, very busy. Very busy. As you can say,
He look like he in
I
charge.
I weigh more now than I was when I was pregnant, but beforehand, I gained a lot of weight after I had him. But now that he's so busy, it's coming off on it because
I be watching your videos.
He be gone.
He is in charge. That's all I got to say.
my husband told me I had to quit putting videos because we never gonna get a babysitter.
Like, anybody coming to watch Rob?
Now you got a book.
I have two. I have
Okay.
2 books, ebooks that I have out. One book I wrote during COVID because to me, everybody's problem always stems from their childhood. So I am a lover of children. I'm a lover of creating avenues for children to grow and learn to be empowered. And I saw a lot of that not happening during COVID. Once kids started staying home, parents was upset. These kids here all day. And it turned into more of a job and a challenge than them really understanding the developmental stages of child and what they should be doing and what you should be doing. So my book is called Relating to Your Children During the COVID Era. And just giving them different ways to be able to talk to your child at different age ranges, from school age to high schoolers, different techniques to stay engaged with your kids. Because once COVID came, grown-ups freaked out. But we didn't realize
Right.
what was going on with the kids.
Yeah.
And they're watching us freaking out. So in turn, they're freaking out in silence. And then we're seeing behaviors as a result of it. And we don't even know why I see these behaviors. Because kids don't know how to say, well, you upset and I'm scared. And they can't verbalize that and really articulate it because they can't really understand what's going on. So the behaviors manifest from it. So in that book, it's just different ways. And I used stages of development, Erickson, for people to be Erickson, to understand at this age, these are what your kids go through.
Right.
So these are some of the behaviors you'll see. So this is normal, and if you're not seeing this, maybe you should try doing X, Y, and Z, and this be able to help with communication. Even with the teenagers, they're a lot nonverbal. They don't want to talk. Have it like a little book, a check-in book. You know, you write in something, have a good day, this, that, and the other, how you feeling. The kid, instead of them talking to you, they can just write back in at their leisure, and you can check in with the book. So different techniques for you to stay engaged with your child during COVID era. And I thought when I finished the book, I'm like, well, now we at the end of COVID, right? And then, because it was like, and then once we got towards the end of summer, COVID came back with his cousins and them, right? So I finished that book, and I did that for Father's Day. And then for my grandmother's birthday, I put out my book about Ra. And so my book series is called Raising Up, and it'll be different things. So the first one was Raising Up, relating to your child in COVID. This one was called Loving a Child on the Spectrum. And I wanted to be able to show, especially young mothers or young parents, symptoms and signs that they can realize that something may be going on with their child. As a therapist and working in schools and for so many years, so many kids didn't get diagnosed until they were 7, 8, 9, 10. And early intervention has been shown to be very beneficial for kids that's on the spectrum. And it's ironic, I have Ra acts like a little client that I had years ago when I worked at Alfred Benish. And the eye movements, the behavior, the impulsivity, everything. And me and Gerald, Gerald Ford, we crack up, Gerald. Okay. We crack up all the time because Ra acts just like this little boy. And Gerald was in the school at that time, and this little boy only would listen to me. They would call me. He's not in class again. Can you come? Like, this is not even my day to be at the school today, But as soon as he see me go, Miss Kelly, hey. And he just run to me because I was nurturing to him, but I was also like, we're going to do it like this and do it like this. So I wanted young parents or new parents to be able to look and say, hey, my kid is not giving me eye contact. Or my kid is starting to line up toys. My kid is walking on his tippy toes and doing all different type of behaviors and characteristics that are attributes to being on the spectrum. And not to say all kids that walk on their tippy toes or do this, but these are different signs, especially if you see it clustered, then you may want to start talking to your medical professionals to say, I'm seeing these type of behaviors, and you can start watching it, especially if they're really young. Because I noticed probably like when Ra was 9 months, and because I'm a hands-on mom, I'm touching on my kid every day. They're right here every day. I'm looking at you. When you blink, I know how you smell. I know what you're thinking. And my daughter used to call me the child whisperer. She said, because you know everything about kids and babies. You can read their minds. And sometimes I do, because I tell my husband, he be like, he didn't say anything. I'm like, well, he did. His behavior just showed you. Right. So I wanted to put in this book in more of a layman's term, not something real therapeutic, but in layman's terms where you can say, wait a minute, that's what my cousin's sons do. And then maybe they can go, because I saw a girl to do my makeup, and her son was doing this. I said, have you ever been tested or you ever talked to anybody? But you got to be careful because if folks get offended.
Yes, they do.
They get offended.
Nothing wrong with my child and the stigma. You get into the stigma. Kelly, can I tell you one of the things that I have admired watching you since you were pregnant? And I told you, I remember when I was at your house saying, both you and Gerald actually encouraged me because we're old.
We were older,
We're older.
Yeah.
We're older. I'm like, well, if y'all can get a baby and y'all older than me, I'm sure God got your attention for me. Is anything coming down the chute for me? I remember telling you that I was encouraged by that. But the thing that really encouraged me, to be honest, every time I see you on your pages with him, you celebrate everything he does. It's beautiful to see. So if he's spelling out a word on the computer, you celebrate that. And that alone is lessons for me. I mean, we celebrate. I'm like, you better go, Rob. I'm watching this stuff. You better go, boy.
The encouragement and empowerment is what makes you want to continue, you know? So if you do one thing right and I say, good job, you're going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the same thing I try to teach my parents as a therapist, right? You put so much focus on the behavior that's not right and don't put any focus on the behavior that's right. If you give attention to the positive behavior, it will occur more. So I used to do training and development courses for foster care. And I used to do a simulation in my parenting class, and I have that was a setup, and I would be in the front seat and had two. I would tell one of the parents, just keep kicking my seat, right? And the other one, just sit still and do what they're supposed to do. And I'm trying to teach them a lesson. So I'm driving, and I'm in this kid kicking the seat. And of course, first thing was, stop doing that. So you give it first warning. Don't do that. Mommy's driving, you disturbing me, blah, blah, blah. Once you get that warning, that's it. So he keep on doing it. You got a piece of candy. The kid that's not kicking it, thank you for being a good backseat person. Give him the candy and keep driving. Never give the attention to the behavior that you don't want to see, right? So once that kid sees she getting candy for sitting still, what they gonna do?
Try to sit still.
They gonna sit still. I don't do bribing. I need to see the behavior first. I don't say if you be still, I'll give you some candy because that's a bribe. I reward the behavior that I want to see. So when I see it, that's when you get the prize.
Yeah.
And it's like classical conditioning.
Yeah.
But I think that's important for every parent to learn.
For sure.
What works for them and to stay the course and to not be embarrassed even to say, I need help. To not be embarrassed to say, this is a lot on my plate. I want to make sure I have two pieces I want to make sure I ask before we, before
you switch, I wanted to say the value in that book, though, before we switch to that. And that is because I've had situations where I remember I used to work at this one place where we had parents bring kids, and so his grandmother brought a baby, and not a baby, a kid who had this video game, and it shut off, and he had his meltdown. He just had a fit and just could not pull himself together. And she said, I got to give him this video game all day. He just won't do anything else but these video games. And the grandmother just was at her wit's end. And I was trying to get her to understand, I need you to go get him assessed. I know this isn't your baby, but that's who you have right. These are meltdowns. This isn't a tantrum. Because it took us a while to get him together. And we had to find we running around trying to find some batteries. Like, he was done. And I think in our community, this is something that because we're going to try to beat it out of everybody.
Yeah.
And we really need to become aware about this. Yeah. Specific subject matter, so that we are not abusing our kids.
Yes. Thinking that we're trying to teach them a lesson.
Right.
And it's not.
There's a difference between the disobedience and being on the spectrum.
Absolutely.
We got to learn a difference.
Yes, we do.
I think part of it is that when we were growing up, we didn't hear of the spectrum. We didn't hear of autism. There was not, we had a few categories that we put kids in. It was LD in school, the slow kids, and that was pretty much MRDD,
mentally retarded,
and that was it.
Then they had the severely behavior handicap too.
Right.
Yeah.
There was different labels, but I do think there might be higher in numbers now, or maybe we're just now seeing a different classification. I don't, because they had different labels, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's all about removing the stigma, learning, and then being compassionate, because the truth is, in all of our families, someone is impacted.
Oh, yeah.
So I did want to make sure, as our time kind of draws near, that we celebrate another piece of you. My birthday is coming up in a few months, and one of my rituals, every single birthday, my twin sister and I, we go to Kelly's business and have a custom piece of jewelry made. Now, she spoils Sugar. So Sugar gets to work. She goes, Sugar, just put. I'm like, what about me? And so we go. It's our ritual before we go out of town, before we get on a boat. Didn't we last year? We come in matching clothes. Speaking engagements. You just blessed my godson with his custom made. So can you speak a little bit about Wrist Work? I don't have any wrist candy on today, but can you speak a little bit about your business?
Wrist Work is custom handmade bracelets. It's sort of like artwork for your wrist. And it's not sort of, it is. And it came about as me finding and identifying a coping skill after taking on everybody's stuff from work. Excuse me. So I would leave work and feel drained emotionally. I didn't even want to deal with my kids. And I needed to find something to do with myself other than drinking and things like that, what people usually do to cope. And I love sparkles. I was making name badges, lanyards, and things, and somebody asked for a bracelet, and I was like, I'll make bracelets, and then I made one, and I was like, okay, and it kind of just took off, and that was in the summer of 2013. And so I've been a mental health therapist for in the mental health field for the last 20 years. I've been doing bracelets for the last almost 9 years, and those are the things that kind of keep me my balance from work.
Where can they find your bracelets?
They can find my bracelets at wristworkcustom.com, and work is with a W, and that is wristwork, WRISTWERK.com.
And it's not just for women. I'll throw that out there.
No.
I've had pastors come and ask me what's on my wrist, and she's done some of the men of God in my life.
Yes.
Recently.
Men, women, and children. Custom. I do brand work. I've been doing boutiques, customizing for certain boutiques in the city, so they resell them in their shops. So it has been a blessing that Wristwork has grown. We are now in our own suite now at 2490 Lee Boulevard, and that's in Cleveland Heights, Suite 322. And if you go to any of my social medias, which is Wristwork, and you will find my hours of operation. And I'll also want to add this one last thing. During COVID, I also completed all my hours to get my independent licensure. So I will be an independent therapist.
Awesome.
Like the big dog right here by this summer.
Okay.
So,
all right. So show you
that's
how to get your
trauma.
So show you how to get paneled on these insurance companies. Okay. So and they can find your books on your wrist.
You can find it on the wristworkcustom.com. Yep, books and work on our website.
You are a woman who does it all.
You are.
You are a woman who does it all, and you make it look easy.
You are amazing.
But I know you hinted towards it. I know we're wrapping up. that there's some personal things in the attack zone too.
Yeah.
So as you do it all, I'm asking those who listen to not just enjoy our show, but to lift up the guest. I lift you up in prayer, sister. And I stand behind you in the spirit of support. And I know that everything you put your hands to, your family, your business, your goals, is going to turn to gold. Everything.
Thank you.
I speak that into existence,
I love you,
sister. I
honey.
love you more. I do.
All right. So that is the show this week. We are out of time. Thank you all for tuning in to Pause.
This has been Pause.
And Honey going to take us out on a ditty.
This has been Paused.
Tune in next
hope you
week.
paused. I hope you paused. I hope you paused. Join me, Robyn.
You know I ain't gonna
hope
join you.
paused.
Hey.
I'll play cards if you sing. Pause.
You know I ain't sing.
I'll play some cards if you pause. I'll play
She
some
always gonna
cards
give
if
me
you
a
pause. I'll some cards. Big joker. Big little joker. Oh. Big joker and the queen. That's all I know. No spades.
Put them spades down.
Don't know no spades. Don't know no tongue. Don't know no.
Wait, you don't know
I can't
tongue?
play no cards.
You don't know tongue?
No.
She don't even know Uno.
I don't even know
What?
Uno.
How you be with all them kids that do not play Uno?
I don't.